commémoration de deuil qui pour moi se poursuit aujourd'hui parce que, comme vous savez, le vendredi en général c'est la veillée et c'est le samedi qu'on enterre. Donc cette journée de commémoration se poursuit pour moi, y compris aujourd'hui. Et ben, qu'est-ce que nous commémorons? Nous commémorons entre 40 et 100 morts, beaucoup de blessés, certains graves, 1500, 2000 prisonniers, on peut dire politiques, des familles meurtries, des biens spoliés, en tout cas énormément de douleurs. Et pourquoi? Pourquoi tout ça? Parce que le 12 octobre, il y a quelqu'un qui, pour la 8e fois, s'est livré à quelque chose qu'il a l'habitude de faire, mais qui ce coup-ci s'est fait sous nos yeux à tous, alors qu'on était mobilisés pour que ça ne se fasse pas. Et en fait, ce qui s'est passé le 12 octobre, c'est rien de plus que un coup d'État institutionnel contre la souveraineté du peuple. C'est rien de plus qu'un coup d'État contre notre volonté, contre notre... Ce coup-ci, en 2018 encore, on était timoré de le dire, mais en 2025, c'est extrêmement clair pour tout le monde. On est en face d'un coup d'État contre la volonté de 28, 29 millions de personnes. Et, et- et ça, c'est très difficile à accepter. C'est très difficile à accepter. Je ne sais pas qui peut accepter de voir ses enfants grandir dans un truc où on t'impose la dictature. Je ne sais pas qu'est-ce que ça veut dire même que travailler, cumuler des biens, si c'est pour ne pas en jouir, dans un espace paisible. Je ne sais pas quelle signification ça peut avoir. Donc, en fait, le point de départ de ce sur quoi je vais vous entretenir, c'est vraiment cette idée de dire non, de dire non, de dire non, de dire 3 fois non à ce coup d'État contre ma volonté, votre volonté, la volonté du plus grand nombre des Camerounais. C'est juste pas possible. Euh, on peut réfléchir dessus comme on veut. Les estimations les plus conservatives donnent une, une victoire de Chiroma de moins 60%, un peu plus forte même que celle que lui-même a déclarée et ce que l'Église a déclaré. Donc, il y a là quelque chose qui interpelle.
I think we're having some challenge with your sound, Alan. Can you hear us?
Yes, I'm hearing you. Uh,
Okay.
are you
Okay.
getting me?
Yes, I
Yes,
can hear you now. Yeah, we lost you for
sounds like I have an issue with my Zoom, but if you can get me that, then
Yes,
okay.
yes, please keep, yeah, we can hear you.
Oui, donc je disais que ce coup d'État institutionnel n'est vraiment pas acceptable. Et donc, ça appelle, de notre point de vue, la résistance. C'est-à-dire que Project C, et j'aime beaucoup cette lettre C qui fait référence à Cameroun, à changement, à citoyen, citoyenneté, à collaboration. Cette lettre C euh, symbolise vraiment un mouvement qui a commencé depuis 4 mois dans sa version la plus récente, mais qui est en marche depuis près de 12 ans avec le MRC, le professeur Maurice Kamto. Il est grand temps que ce Cameroun dont nous rêvons advienne. Donc, en gros, on a une vision qui est simple, qui est que il faut établir le Cameroun qui a été choisi par le peuple le 12 octobre. Il faut, il faut, il faut arrêter cette dictature et enfin commencer la démocratie. S'il est grand temps que on, on jette les bases de la renaissance de ce pays, on jette les bases de la refondation de ce pays en vue de choses simples, en vue de ce que les gens voient leurs enfants évoluer, voient leur vie être positivement exercée, tout simplement, mais vraiment tout simplement. Et donc, Project C, je pense que si on voulait lui donner une mission dans cet objectif qui est de stopper la dictature et de commencer la démocratie, ce serait d'organiser un réseau actif de combattants, de résistants contre cette tentative d'usurpation de la volonté qui est en train d'être opérée par le président de fait, M. Paul Biya. Donc, nous avons un objectif qui est clair. Dans le temps, il faut qu'on essaye d'y arriver dans un temps court. Ça peut prendre quelques semaines, ça peut prendre quelques mois. J'espère pas en années. Et c'est possible, mais il faut que le régime soit isolé localement et à l'international pour conduire euh, un- au transfert du pouvoir, au transfert du pouvoir en guise de respect de la vérité du 12 octobre 2025. Donc, ça, c'est notre objectif, c'est notre enjeu, c'est notre lutte. Il faut que cette vérité-là soit rétablie parce que cette vérité-là est la base de la refondation de ce pays qui nous est cher en vue d'être épanoui dans nos vues. Donc, cet objectif stratégique, on peut le décomposer en 5 objectifs opérationnels, c'est-à-dire des choses concrètes qu'il y a à faire au quotidien pour pouvoir cheminer vers cette cible-là. Donc, il y a un vrai enjeu à établir la légitimité. Et établir la légitimité ici, c'est dire Paul Biya, en tant que président de fait du Cameroun, est illégitime. Ça, ça doit être clair pour tout le monde, en national comme en l'international. Paul Biya est illégitime parce que on l'a vu, beaucoup d'entre nous, parce que nous avons participé au processus électoral, savons que il est illégitime. Il a perdu les élections. Si Paul Biya a eu maximum dans ce processus électoral, c'est peut-être 25. Je dirais 30%, mais vraiment en étant très, 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 très optimiste pour lui. Donc, il a largement perdu les élections. On a vu toutes les manœuvres, les manigances frauduleuses auxquelles se sont livrés l'ensemble du système RDPC-BIA pour traficoter les PV, tordre le cou à des gens pour essayer de faire passer le mensonge pour de la vérité. Mais ça, c'est ce qu'on a vu en dernier lieu. Mais la tricherie, elle avait déjà commencé depuis fort longtemps. Elle avait commencé depuis le code électoral, depuis la façon dont on gère l'opposition, depuis la dictature. Elle est à l'épreuve depuis très longtemps. Mais ce qui est particulièrement inacceptable en cette année 2025, c'est le fait que malgré tout ce contexte qui était biaisé dans tous les sens, on a accepté de jouer le jeu et notre volonté s'est manifestée de façon forte. Malheureusement, on essaye de contrer cette volonté-là. Donc, Paul Biya est illégitime, bien que exerçant la fonction présidentielle aujourd'hui. On a par contre quelqu'un qui s'appelle Issa Chiroma Bakary, qui est le président élu. Et c'est pareil, à l'inverse de l'illégitimité de Paul Biya, Issa Chiroma est effectivement le président élu. C'est lui qui est légitime. Il faut donc, dans le cadre de cet objectif opérationnel, établir sa légitimité. faut casser tout ça. Nous avons de la ressource intellectuelle. Il faut savoir expliquer que ce gouvernement, c'est un gouvernement de malfaisants. Et ça, ce n'est pas les éléments qui manquent. Il suffit juste à voir comment ils ont enclenché le budget 2026. C'est bourré de contresens économiques et c'est bourré de plein d'éléments qui expliquent vraiment comment est-ce que on prend la sueur et le sang de Camerounais pour pouvoir nourrir quelques personnes à Yaoundé. Ça, il faut expliquer qu'on n'est pas dupe de ça, qu'on le voit et que la cause du changement, c'est justement de dire on va arrêter ça parce que ça participe d'une inéquité dans le vécu social de notre pays et qu'on a l'intention de revenir à un peu plus de justice et à construire le pays magnifique que nous méritons. On a un pays qui est vraiment béni des dieux. Sa position géostratégique au niveau du golfe de Guinée est telle que, avec très peu d'efforts, on peut construire une petite Suisse avec le Cameroun. Donc, vraiment, l'idée, c'est de construire des contre-messages pour dire que ce régime-là, même en se forçant, il ne peut pas changer le Cameroun. Donc, il y a une seule chose à négocier avec eux, c'est qu'ils dégagent. Donc, voilà, en gros, ce qu'est notre objectif stratégique. Une expression de 5 objectifs opérationnels avec un qui est clé au-dessus duquel se greffent les autres, c'est ce réseau actif de résistants qu'il faut constituer en local. Et dans ce réseau actif de résistants, effectivement, c'est la colonne vertébrale de l'unification du peuple du changement pour que l'objectif soit. Donc, je vais m'arrêter ici un moment pour qu'on puisse interagir dessus. Et puis après, si on a du temps, on pourra un petit peu développer la construction de ce réseau de combattants pour la résistance. Merci. Je vous repasse la parole à Ray ou
Wait,
Elisabeth.
Alain, please don't go away because I want to have a little dialogue with you here, just to follow up on all of this. Um, tu sais, la logique me dit que peut-être il y a des voies institutionnelles qu'on peut réussir à implémenter tous ces objectifs. Il y a des voies, euh, mais les voies institutionnelles sont les voies qu'on a utilisées pendant le processus électoral, tu vois. Et là, on se trouve euh, avec le peuple camerounais contre les institutions qui ne servent pas les objectifs des Camerounais. Alors, ça nous met dans une situation où euh, on doit penser autrement pour arriver à atteindre ces objectifs. Alors, comment tu peux expliquer à moi ou à toute à l'audience comment on peut aller de, de la stratégie à l'objectif final? Comment est-ce qu'on peut arriver là? Dans, dans tes rêves, quoi. Comment est-ce qu'on peut y arriver?
Alors, il y a quelque chose que tu dis, Ray, qui est très intéressant et très important. C'est, and I'm going to say it in English.
Yeah,
For
please.
sure, and you're absolutely right. We have to think out of the box and acting out of the box.
Yes, yes.
That is a key strategic point
Yeah,
because we used to do all of these institutional things since several years
yes.
et ça n'a abouti à rien du tout. Donc, le tout aussi, l'idée c'est de dire vraiment, on va imposer à ce régime notre terrain avec nos règles. Et quand je dis ça, c'est sans limite. Je dis bien, c'est sans limite.
Oui,
Je répète, c'est sans limite.
oui,
Concrètement, qu'est-ce que je veux dire par là? Honnêtement, je ne crois pas, c'est même pas une question de logique, c'est une question d'évidence. Je ne crois pas que 200 000, 500 000 personnes peuvent dicter leur loi à 30 millions de personnes. Même s'ils ont 150 000 armées, etc. Je ne le pense pas. Donc, très concrètement, on va dire que parce qu'on est civilisé, parce qu'on sait ce que veut dire enchaîner de la violence sur de la violence et le cycle dans lequel ça peut mener, on dit on choisit exprès d'être non violent dans l'approche. Mais être non violent dans l'approche, ça ne veut pas dire ne pas être vigoureux. Et ça peut passer par un ramp-up. Je peux
Oui.
commencer par dire, je fais des marches pour dire, je vous préviens que je suis décidé de faire ce que je veux faire. Et je ne fais pas des marches parce que tu m'autorises. Que tu ne m'autorises pas, je fais des marches. Parce que je ne vois pas la police qui souffre comme nous, je ne vois pas les gendarmes qui souffrent comme nous résister à 10 000 personnes qui ont décidé de se rassembler dans un point dans Yaoundé ou Douala pour marcher. Donc, ça, c'est un type d'action simple qu'on peut faire, mais à ce niveau-là, c'est just to say, hey guys, we are on the road, we are coming, please take care faites attention à ce qu'on est en train de vous dire. Mais après, une phase un peu plus vigoureuse dessus, c'est effectivement les villes mortes. Et quand on dit ville morte ici, c'est pas que le fait de rester à la maison. C'est qu'on est en train de dire, comme vous ne voulez pas entendre ce qu'on veut dire, on va rendre le pays ingouvernable. Vous n'aurez plus d'impôts, vous n'aurez plus d'argent, il n'y aura plus de flux qui va vous donner de la matière à gouverner. Et là, quand je dis ça, je reste dans de la résistance passive. C'est même pas de la rébellion. C'est juste de dire non, on ne veut pas de vous, vous êtes illégitime. Donc, on arrête de vous donner de la matière à gouverner. On reste chez nous et on empêche même les gens qui veulent participer de l'économie d'y participer parce que le plus grand nombre d'entre nous disons non. Après, vraiment, ce n'est pas notre business ça. Mais si jamais tout ça ne marche pas, on n'en parle pas ici, mais je suis certain,
On
parce qu'il
passe,
y a plusieurs autres mouvements
on passe aux
qui
vitesses
pensent à ça,
supérieures.
d'évidence, il y aura des choses qui vont ressembler à de la guérilla urbaine. D'évidence. Surtout si, quand on décide de marcher et d'être non violent, on commence à nous taper dessus. Donc, moi, je n'ai pas envie d'en parler parce que ce n'est pas mon expertise. Il y aura d'autres personnes qui vont en parler. C'est des choses qui concernent le président élu Chiroma. C'est lui qui est le maître de cette stratégie-là. Mais pour ce qui nous concerne ici, rien que le fait de marcher, la désobéissance civile et les ghost towns, c'est trois instruments qui sont extrêmement puissants et qui, à mon sens, articulés sur quelques mois, euh, arrêtent la dictature. Je ne sais pas, Arès, si j'ai répondu à ta question ou si il y a d'autres personnes dans l'assistance qui voudraient peut-être étendre d'autres questions sur le même thème. Mais voilà comment moi je pense on peut procéder un peu in a nutshell.
Yeah. Merci beaucoup, Alain. That's exactly what I wanted us to start thinking about. There's this quote by Abraham Lincoln which says, "The dogmas of the quiet past are inadequate to the stormy present. The dogmas of the quiet past are inadequate for the stormy present." That we cannot think about this logically to be able, we have to actually be illogical in our thinking because it was the logical thinking that brought us to this point. And at this point, we cannot be logical in the process that takes place. Think about it this way, and I want everybody in the audience to come along with me in this in this tableau that I'm going to paint now. I want to go back because what we're really looking for is liberating our country. This is when we get the real independence of Cameroon once and for all. Once and for all. Imagine the people who fought for independence of Cameroon. Imagine them having this conversation and people telling them it was impossible because they didn't have what it took for them to get independence of Cameroon, and they did it anyway. This is exactly where we find ourselves. Is if we only think about the logical challenges that we're going to face, we would never be able to move one step forward. So my plea to all of us is that we have the plan. We have what it takes. We have momentum on our side. We have evidence on our side. We can build a strong network that will push this government out with very, very little things that we do. As long as we have the solidarity, we have the commitment, we have the support, we can do it. And internationally, the pressure is not going to stop. I will tell you that we will uh, leave no stone unturned to be able to get there. And it's already happening. We started the protest, not let me not call it a protest, but a simple letter to the Pope itself. The number of archbishops that have received notice about that visit, the conversations that are taking place, the reaction that we're getting from within the church itself. I don't know that the church was prepared for this kind of reaction, but we're taking it right to the point where we hope that we will actually have a direct conversation with the Vatican, because it doesn't make sense for the church to be playing a role in almost virtually taking a stand in support of the regime against the people. The church cannot be part of the fabric of injustice that keeps millions of people in purgatory and suffering that we've had. So we have to stop that, and we also will be tackling the governments of various countries. Marco Rubio is put on notice that we will be having conversations with him. Elysee is put on notice. So we internationally, we have this covered. And by the way, for all the people in the regime, you will be traveling for healthcare reasons. You will be seeking visas to have your families travel abroad. We will be waiting for you wherever you go. President Biya is scrambling to find a way to get to Switzerland. We will be on the ground waiting for him when he gets there. So there will, if he does get there, because that's another conversation. As Alain said, we will start building that strategic network. Not that start, we already have on the ground. I can call people in various cities across the country who we are already connecting and building this network that's going to unleash the kind of resistance that this government has never seen. And it doesn't take much. It takes very, very limited resources, unbelievably limited resources, because the terrain is already prepared. So I'm asking you all to believe in this movement, to believe in what you can do. We're just calling a brother in DOP or in Tombell and asking them to join this movement, be part of this project, C network, resistance network, so that we can at one moment be able to mobilize, yes, 10,000 people across every country. I mean, we have done the analysis, and by the way, we were working on this with before Jacob Chemeni was arrested, with 3.5% of the population out in Cameroon, the government collapses in 3 days. If we can just put 3.5% and think about it, that's about 1.5 million people. If we can mobilize 1.5 million people out in one day across the country and repeat it 3 times, this government goes down. There's no question about it. This is science. This has been repeated. If you look at movements around the world, that is all that we need. And will we lose people? Yeah, we have lost people already. We have lost 40, 60, 70 people. Are we going to stop now? And what happens to their honor? which we were commemorating. Those 40 people yesterday, we said it was not just a statistic. This is not just numbers. This is the history of our country being written. This is the future of our country being destroyed. This is stories cut short that could make a difference. And maybe Eli, I don't know. There was popular demand that we should repeat that presentation of the 40 lives. I don't know whether that's something that we
Yeah, absolutely.
we
I
should
do
do.
think so.
For those who were here yesterday, I'm sorry you're going to have to go through this again. But let me just say, those 40 lives that have been lost because of those lives, the more I think about it, the more I am inspired to keep going forward. We can have come this far to turn back now. We can have come this far to be defeated or feel defeated, because we are not defeated, but feel defeated. And sometimes I feel like that's what I get from people. But no, we have to stay the course, and we have to win this. I, so should I just go through that presentation again? Okay. All right. So I hope everyone can see my screen now. If you can give me a thumbs up there, Ellie, if you can see my screen. Yeah. All right. We were just thinking about this from the perspective of um, the cost of 40 young lives lost in Cameroon, 40 young men and women killed for demanding the truth. And the truth is that Paul Biya lost. No question about it. As Alain said, we are going to come back we're going to document clearly how Biya lost, how he stole the election, and what this means for the Cameroonian people. We're not doing this to prove to anyone that Biya lost, because everybody knows, but because we want it to be a document in history, so that we should never find ourselves in this position again, so that our children would know that this moment happened. Biya lost the elections and stole the elections. Let's talk about what this 40 lives meant. These are potential teachers. Each individual had a unique background. They had aspirations. There were students, workers, athletes, future parents, friends, neighbors, future leaders, community leaders. This 40 lives represents a cross-section of Cameroon's future. Doctors, entrepreneurs, artists, you could name it. Who knows what they would have become? The 40 lives represent an irreparable void, the absence of 40 individuals that will be felt in schools, in marketplaces, on sports fields, homes, families across our country. Their loss cannot be fully understood by looking at just statistics. We're saying 40 to 60 or 70 or 80 lives. Each life was a unique story cut short. There's a physical consequence if you just think about it, and you think about it in the context of each human body. It's about 5 liters of blood. 40 lives lost totals about 200 liters of blood, enough to flood a city streets. That's just a symbol of the scale of the violence orchestrated by the regime against its own people. There is an economic and social loss. Economic in the sense that these are bullets purchased with public funds, government, taxpayer money. It represents a moral and financial misallocation that this is used against our own people. That there's a sitting government that has the ability to use taxpayer money to get bullets against its own people, take away its own lives. The resources diverted from that could go to education, build schools, social welfare, hospitals, provide water in communities that don't have access to clean water. Every victim represents the future contributions to our economy, to our healthcare, to our justice, to society as at large. All of that is now permanently taken away. There's value in every life. Each one of us brings unique opportunities to the future of our country, and it's been taken away from the four people. This also leads to civic and political breakdown. This violence that we have experienced, that 40 or more than 40 people have died, is not the result of war, which we can say of what the number of people who have died in the Northwest and Southwest over the last many years. It's not as a result of natural disaster. It's not a volcanic eruption, an earthquake, or flooding, but the direct consequences of state repression that Biya lost an election, and this, because he lost, people are dying. I spent time with Goodluck Jonathan, former president of Nigeria, and there was something he said to me that was very striking. He said, I could have stayed on as president, but I never wanted one person to lose their life in the name of me being president of Nigeria. Why can President Biya not have that kind of logic to say nobody should lose their life because I have to be president after 43 years? National wealth is channeled away from essential public services and directed instead towards security forces and mechanisms of control. That on our streets we saw war tanks against civilian population. And yet down those streets, there are people who don't have access to water, to electricity, to the internet. And yet we have the ability to have this military equipment on our streets. government taxpayer money, and it represents a moral and financial misallocation that this is used against our own people. That there's a sitting government that has the ability to use taxpayer money to get bullets against its own people, take away its own lives. The resources diverted from that could go to education, build schools, social welfare, hospitals, provide water in communities that don't have access to clean water. Every victim represents the future contributions to our economy, to our healthcare, to our justice, to society as at large. All of that is now permanently taken away. There's value in every life. Each one of us brings unique opportunities to the future of our country, and it's been taken away from these 40 people. This also leads to civic and political breakdown. This violence that we have experienced, that 40 or more than 40 people have died, is not the result of war, which we can say of what the number of people who have died in the Northwest and Southwest over the last many years. It's not as a result of natural disaster. It's not a volcanic eruption, an earthquake, or flooding, but the direct consequences of state repression, that Biya lost an election, and this, because he lost, people are dying. I spent time with Goodluck Jonathan, former president of Nigeria, and there was something he said to me that was very striking. He said, I could have stayed on as president, but I never wanted one person to lose their life in the name of me being president of Nigeria. Why can President Biya not have that kind of logic to say nobody should lose their life because I have to be president after 43 years? National wealth is channeled away from essential public services and directed instead towards security forces and mechanisms of control. That on our streets we saw war tanks against civilian population. And yet down those streets, there are people who don't have access to water, to electricity, to the internet. And yet we have the ability to have this military equipment on our streets. Well, of course, there are social consequences because trust continues to diminish between the public institutions, which we spoke about earlier. The fact that this is happening only continues to erode the government's moral authority. It just worsens the divide between the government and ordinary citizens and perpetuates this cycle of fear, silence, and grief, which is unacceptable. And I will not forget to emphasize the historical significance of this moment. That we must use this 40 lives as a symbol of disruption. That we cannot move on as if nothing happened. We must use this 40 lives as a defining moment in the history of our country to say not anymore. How is it acceptable that Monday comes and we go to work knowing that 40 citizens lost their lives as if it didn't happen? We cannot accept death to be an ordinary consequence of daily life in a country that could prosper without anyone losing their lives. So we must mark this moment in history as a mile marker for where we go from here as a country. This is incredibly important that we remember that let's call this what it is. It is a historical fact that every history book must carry going forward. That for those who lost their lives on May 6th of 1990, when the SDF was launched, that we didn't define that moment. And since then, we have seen people lose their lives in different instances in Gabu and all of this. And we have not stopped as a country to make it a historical fact. It's up to us to make this moment one so that we can remember all those who went before them at this moment and ask ourselves how long we will continue to have these deaths without action. And this is where we go from here. Obviously, I spoke about the international pressure. We must keep international eyes. The world must keep its eyes on Cameroon, so that we judge our country. They judge our country for what it truly is, a dictatorship, a government that has lost complete legitimacy, and a people that are yearning for independence, because that's what it is. We are fighting for the independence of our country from thugs that have torn the page of every article in our constitution, have disregarded the rule of law in itself, and are basically highway robbers staying in power, disguised or cloaked with the institutions of our country. There is no logic. There's no logic in us thinking that this is ordinary moments and that we would use ordinary means to get there. We, the people, have legitimacy and momentum on our side, and we must keep the pressure and the fight on. We cannot back down now. We've come too far. So this is what we thought to share with you all about what these 40 lives mean. It's more than just a statistic. It's a mile marker, and it must help us define what kind of future we want as a country. So anyhow, I would stop here.
Just unmuting. Yes, Ari. I feel, there's a somberness in all that's going on, but very thoughtful is really where we are. And I must add that, and this is something we're going to lay out, but we really have to start thinking of how we're going to have other leaders in different states with Project C, because we have to build the ground for this to happen. But I hope that we're all gathering confidence in knowing that we are not going to stop. And what is going to make this happen is our voices, like Ari said, our consistency. Ari, I wanted to add that, in a way we could forgive ourselves. We've never been in this position, and that's why we have gotten here, in other words. And I know that sounds like a catch-22, because we never paid attention as a people. We never thought this maturely as a people. And so in this process, it has gotten worse. And I think that's the dilemma, is for us to understand that each time that we're, those of us in the diaspora going out to get burgers or whatever, more people are being killed, more children will not have a future, more young girls will be getting pregnant. It is a horrible situation, and our awareness can change everything. I mean, that's the bottom line. I guess what we're appealing to, Cameroon has a fight. We know that locally in Cameroon. But there's a fight for the diaspora, which is what I am really highlighting today, is there's a fight for the diaspora. There's a fight for us. And I know that many of us never have to worry about going back.
In their honor,
to
their memory.
Okay.
We remember those lost this week in Cameroon.
Okay.
Ordinary
Yeah, I
people
think you
with
need to.
dreams like
you.
ours.
Is that from me?
They had names, faces, families.
I don't
They had
know.
hopes
Where is
for
that coming
tomorrow.
from?
Their dreams were simple. Freedom.
Oh, sorry, guys. Actually, I was putting something on that I wanted to share was coming from me. So that was a big distraction. And I don't know. Maybe when I unmuted myself, it came on. I apologize. Anyways, going back to what I was saying is, we have never been in this place. I think I lost my train of thoughts, but I wanted to say, in the diaspora, what we can do is really where the fight is. I hope we're seeing the switch of as we're speaking, they're still arresting people. I really want to commend everyone dialing in from Cameroon, because this is what a fight looks like. Sometimes, like I said, we've never been here. It doesn't dawn on us that Allah who spoke, we have many of you here who they could just be picked up. We had a meeting with Messier, not Jigam Chamani, and we were going to have a meeting, and 30 minutes he had just been talked to. He was going to come into the meeting. He got arrested. This is how real. I really want us to listen and pay attention, and I have to bring this up because Alon, who was speaking earlier, he's aware that they could bang on his door right now. Guys, this is what we're doing. He's aware. He's aware. The many people of you who are here, this is a sacrifice. So I am appealing to us in the Western part. We have already set the foundation. As you can see, the footprints has been set, internationally with the Western authorities, of the awareness that needs to be had and the pressure that is not going to end. This is the pressure that was able to make changes in many parts of the world, especially Africa. And so we should not, your efforts, us being here, cannot be understated. If we're thinking that people have to be with guns in the streets or whatever the old struggle and how things have been done, then we're mistaken. We actually have more power now. We are actually able to change things further now. And we're all making sacrifices. I don't know that I'm making sacrifice. I feel compelled. And I understand, for me personally, what the sacrifices, what the dangers are, which I don't want to talk about. I don't think that's as important as the people who are dying in Cameroon right now. But we are all going to have to be made uncomfortable, is what I'm saying. And in that place, some of us are going to make hardcore choices. We might be losing things. I already talked about, people saying in the beginning, be careful about your investments in Cameroon. Wow, really? That's why we are where we are. Because even though we saw the outside and things happening, we were not willing to be uncomfortable. And then now you could just step out of your door and you can see the falling down is happening. How much more can we bury our heads in the sand? I am really appealing to us in the diaspora to be willing to make, the least we can do is, how uncomfortable can we be across the US, Canada, all of Europe, Eastern Europe? How uncomfortable can we be? It's the question that we need to ask ourselves. How uncomfortable can you be? We are already uncomfortable. If I had my way, I'll raise my boys and be in my country. Pick up whatever skills and talents I've learned here and be. I don't know that I may be able to do that again. I don't know, but the fight doesn't finish. So our putting ourselves to be uncomfortable, it's such a small price to pay for the magnitude. Another thing that I wanted to bring up on what Ari was saying is that what I've been consistently reminded is that the gap between where we are and the change is really, the gap in between that is who we are. It's what Ari referred to. Now is the time, the quote by Obama. Ari, you had the quote by Obama. I can't quite remember. If you can state that again.
We are the ones we've been waiting for.
We are the ones we're waiting for, is what is in the gap. And when Alan was speaking, there were certain strategies that he gave, the things that we can do. That is in the gap. And so the length of time for when we are free, so to speak, and when we're not, it's depending on us. And this could be daunting. I'm not going to say it's not daunting for me, but it is. And mark you, that doesn't mean we're going to have weapons. We need to buy weapons and finance people in Cameroon and put more of our children in harm's way. You know, the damage that has been done, I dare to say, you know, kids who are supposed to be in school, who are taking drugs and smoking so they can be hardened, so they can fight. We know what that looks like. We in the Anglophone zone knows what that looks like. I'm not saying that I'm qualifying or criticizing it. That could be for another time. So understand me. My question is, what has it done? What has it done? You know, so we must understand the strategy and the power, and maybe not be sensationalized in reactions that will cause people to suffer for generations to come. Now, you know, I'm originally from Bamenda, I would say part Bamileke and Bamenda, but I would say I have not been where I call home in a very long time, almost 20 years with the struggle. I don't know how many of you, and I know people, but who feel safe to go there. I've never been able to take my boys. Now, what I do know is that if we continue, even in 20 years, we are not going to get the Bamenda region where it needs to be. That is suffering. That is a lot of suffering, guys. So the gap is where I'm going to, and saying, if we galvanize here in the Western world, and we're increasing in these conversations, and we're getting other people, non-Cameroonians, involved, maybe that's what it's going to take. Dealing with the international. Look at, ever since we put the letter for the Pope, I mean, the ground is shaking till now. But the church was silenced. And the good people in the church, you know, but it was silence. Who can speak up now? And so those are the things we need to know, is the level of awareness, because no matter what, there's still people of conscience, and that will crumble it. Now, there are people in power who have no conscience. And I just want us to be reminded that there are people in power who are practicing all kinds of evil practices. This is real. Let's not be hiding in that. They have all kinds of things they're doing in believing that they will keep power. And I don't know, maybe they can stay forever. But we know that that is not true. So I am appealing to us as a Project C, a voice, that we need more people to join, more people to be aware. And that's not going to happen just by us coming and having discussions. It's going to happen because we're willing to talk. Another thing that I wanted to share, because I know we talked about this and many of you have already put in names. I want to say thank you so much for that. Is we have a plan. We have formed all these committees now. So we're going to get it working so we can be a part of that and expand even further. And so please, as you get a request, and I know it goes out in so many different ways, remember to contact the admins. There are many of you, and I had to call Micah because there are more people like Micah, but that really gives us the momentum that we need to keep this voice going, that we need you in the back with us now to amplify and to stand in the gap that we need. Remember, everything you think about, it is as short or as long as we choose to. And when we sit and we're comfortable, we expand the gap. Maybe Shiroma can be in 6 months. Maybe he can be in 1 month. What is it going to take for us not to have a Christmas as usual, you know, because we know that there are children in Cameroon and many families who would not have Christmas. Mothers who are crying because their children have been killed. Mothers who are crying because they can't find their children. Mothers and families that are crying because their children, 14-year-old guys, I have a 16-year-old. I don't know how old are your children. Please, same DNA, you know? Just think about it. What does that mean? When you look at your child now, and I could call my son and just talk to him. Another mother cannot call her child because her child is concerned about their future and they've been locked up. You guys, we're in a place where, you know, I'm not going to use God, but we're being called to stand up. This is what, I'm not going to use Jesus. I can't think past that. We are called to stand up for who we are. We're called to stand up for the voiceless. We're called to stand up for those who are suffering. We are called for that. And in so doing, we are blessing ourselves. Like Ari said, you can sit down and say, I feel better as a human being because I have done. We're all Martin Luther Kings. We're all Obamas. We are that. We don't have to be on TV. We don't have to be. We are Obamas in our household for our country. We all are. So, I'm not going to speak any further, but what I'm appealing to is our hearts, is the dareness that is within us that we know. It's called humanity. It is there that we can rise up, that what we can do is little. It's not a lot. We can do that. And I feel so burdened. I'm going to be honest. I know I'm getting too emotional. I feel so burdened. 16 or 17 weeks, I don't know, we've been doing this. And I feel burdened. I can't stop. I want to ask every one of us to join. And we must, because when Cameroon unfolds for what we know it is, some of you may not be going back. It's okay. But you guys, go Google Senegal. Go Google Burkina. How do you feel? We're Africans. You know how you feel. How would you feel when that is Cameroon? Our soil, our palm nuts, our red oil, our bitter leaves. How would you feel when that happens? Guys, this is where we are. I'm sorry, but it is a sacrifice. And we all are in it together. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Eddie. We're asking people to make the sacrifice, and we're going to, Herman, we're going to just come in shortly. I want to make sure that I respond to a question that my big brother Charles and Chang left and I want to talk a little bit about that and some work that is taking place behind the scenes. I know there has been a lot of conversations about bringing action at the International Criminal Court against the government of Cameroon. There's a team of lawyers that I know that the Chiroma team has engaged that's working on this and exploring all the angles. I must just say to people that there's a saying and that the wheel of justice grinds very slowly, and it really does. But when it does get there, the action is profound. So that's taking place. But I also want to just be clear with people about what that process looks like with the International Court of Justice. So the way action is brought against an individual or group of individuals is through the office of the prosecutor, right? The office of the prosecutor initiates action, criminal action against an individual. Saw this in Cote d'Ivoire, and we've seen this against the president of Sudan. And its action leads to an indictment of the individuals, as we've seen against Putin, more recently. And for that action to be initiated, individuals or groups provide evidence to the office of the prosecutor, and the office of the prosecutor then makes a determination whether that evidence qualifies for him to bring action. Also note that whilst Cameroon is a signatory of the International Court of Justice, I think in 1998, Cameroon has not gone on to ratify the International Court of Justice. So there is normally when you are a signatory internationally, each country has to proceed to ratify it in its National Assembly so that it becomes law within the country. And that has not happened in Cameroon, except that escaped me. So it kind of provides a shelter for the government of Cameroon. And what happens when a country is not a signatory and is a signatory and has not really ratified it? It can be inferred by the court whether they are open to it. And Cameroon has gone on to host seminars and been part of further discussions about the International Criminal Court. So there is an inference, and we lawyers, these are gray areas where conversations can be had. But it's still, action can be initiated by the court itself, again, based on the pressure that we're going to be putting on the court. And especially if there is action, say, if individuals or a group of individuals in a country that has not ratified the International Criminal Court legislature, if they commit acts in a territory of a country that has ratified it, they can actually be exposed to it. And this is critical in the conversations that we're having. If we start looking at what happened to the Nara 10, or look at some of the things that action has been taken against Chiroma himself. So there's a lot of opportunities there. But I just want to tell people that that's being explored behind the scenes, and it's we will get there, but these things usually take some time. That's one of the tools in the toolbox of the many things that are taking place. Some, I believe, will have more immediate impact, but there's also the psychological tool that the government needs to know, that we're exploring every legal opportunity to hold them accountable, if not inside Cameroon, outside Cameroon as well. So I wanted to make sure that I bring that up, because in the last 2 weeks, there's been a lot of conversation about that. Those conversations are taking place. Action is being looked at in various ways behind the scene, looking at individuals and their assets in different parts of the world and how we can hold them accountable as well. So those are all things that are taking place independent of the International Criminal Court. So I'll pause here and turn it over to Herman. Herman, you had your hand up, but Herman, I know you have been really, really passionate on this journey. You have given a lot of yourself to Cameroon, to this cause, and we don't get to say this often, but I really thank you. You're one of the many kind that Cameroon has, that we're not projecting. So I thank you for your humility and your passion and just the sense of selflessness that you have.
Merci beaucoup, Harry. Suivant Elisabeth, quand Elisabeth parlait, je ressentais au fond de mon cœur quelqu'un qui pensait le Cameroun un peu comme moi. C'est difficile pour moi de voir le Cameroun tel qu'il est. Beaucoup de personnes m'ont demandé, qu'est-ce que tu as avec cette situation au Cameroun? Je leur ai dit, je ne sais pas. Moi-même, je ne peux pas expliquer, mais je ne peux plus me détacher du Cameroun. Et ça, c'est quelque chose que chaque Camerounais qui ressent peut comprendre. Alain a parlé de quelque chose qu'on ne devrait pas oublier, qu'on ne peut pas oublier, qu'on ne saurait oublier. La dernière élection a été un manque de respect absolu envers le peuple camerounais. C'est un peu difficile et on devient même émotionnel quand on en parle. Il est capital que nous qui sommes ici, le gouvernement qui nous écoute, Atanganji qui pourrait nous écouter, qu'ils comprennent que la vérité, on ne pourra pas marcher dessus. On ne peut pas tout le temps marcher sur des personnes comme ça. L'évidence des résultats, tous les Camerounais l'ont. Si le gouvernement, si Atanganji, si tout le monde là, s'ils peuvent avoir des résultats, qu'ils les brandissent. Vous aurez pu vous rendre compte que jamais ils n'ont apporté un seul de leurs procès-verbaux. Pendant que tous les Camerounais ont des procès-verbaux. Donc, ce que Alain disait, ce que Harry disait, ce que Elisabeth disait, c'est que nous qui sommes là, on doit et on peut continuer à réclamer la vérité de ce qui s'est passé le 12 octobre. La deuxième chose, je voudrais juste revenir sur ce que Alain a dit. Il est capital que nous commencions par nous projeter vers un Cameroun futur sans avoir soldé le résultat de l'élection du 12 octobre. Donc, c'est important de ne pas laisser qui que ce soit commencer à nous parler d'élections régionales, commencer à nous parler même d'élections législatives, parce que 40 personnes au moins, sinon 60, 100, ont été tuées. On ne peut pas laisser le sang des Camerounais couler et continuer comme si on n'avait pas tué 40, 50, 60 Camerounais. Ce n'est pas logique pour personne. L'Église catholique, une institution qu'on connaît, sérieuse, disciplinée, qui a autorité, a les résultats. Je répète, l'Église catholique a les résultats. Est-ce qu'on peut d'un côté parler de justice, de bien commun, de tolérance, de paix, de Dieu, d'Église, de Jésus, et faire comme si 40 Camerounais n'ont pas été tués? On ne peut pas. Donc, il est normal et légitime que tous les Camerounais s'arrêtent et disent on ne peut pas continuer, on pouvait encore tolérer si 40 Camerounais n'avaient pas été tués. Et ça, c'est en plus de tous les anglophones qui ont été tués depuis 2016. Tout ce sang-là crie contre le Cameroun. On ne peut pas continuer sans avoir soldé l'élection présidentielle du 12 octobre 2025. Nous qui sommes ici, on a obligation. On ne peut pas ne pas partager ce live, ce lien. S'il est enregistré, on a obligation d'en parler dans la communauté internationale parmi nos amis. Le troisième point qu'Alain a mentionné, c'est celui d'une unité locale. Et nous nous adressons même aux gens du RDPC, parce que nous pensons que la vie des Camerounais engage aussi les gens du RDPC. Ils ne peuvent pas continuer à accepter. Moi, je le dis honnêtement, si je connaissais Ami, je lui aurais dit, tu dois joindre ce combat, tu dois joindre la vérité. Si je connaissais un gouverneur, j'allais lui dire, tout ce que tu fais là, tu ne peux pas te regarder dans un miroir. Tu ne peux pas continuer à regarder des enfants pendant que tu sais que vous avez tué 40 personnes, 40 enfants d'autres personnes. Donc, il s'agit pour nous de nous arrêter et de dire que la réalité, l'union doit être celle de tous les Camerounais. Et je vais insister sur un point. Il ne s'agit pas de partis politiques. Il est très important que, quel que soit, qu'on soit du FSNC, qu'on soit du MRC, qu'on soit de l'UPC, n'importe où, ce n'est pas une histoire de parti. Il est capital, suivant ce que Alain a dit, qu'après cette réunion, les Camerounais se sentent, donnent de leur disponibilité pour qu'on dise au gouvernement, tu as très mal fait. Ce n'est pas ce que tu aurais dû faire. Et à partir de maintenant, il faut que tu comprennes que les familles, les mamans pleurent leurs enfants. Les gens ont perdu beaucoup, mais ce sang-là, tu ne peux pas continuer. Donc, ne nous parle pas d'élections législatives. Ne nous parle pas d'élections régionales. Nous sommes encore en train de regarder la réalité. Le dernier point, c'est cette unité. Il est capital que on peut avoir différentes approches, différentes stratégies. Il ne faut surtout pas faire une fixation sur un homme politique. Parce qu'on a vu des gens dire parce que tel homme politique n'est pas là, cette élection. Non, il s'agit du Cameroun. Et quand nous choisissons, les hommes vont passer. Les Oumniobé sont passés. Leur nom est resté. Ernest Wandji est passé, son nom est resté. John Frondier est passé, son nom est resté. Donc, il est capital de comprendre que si celui que je veux comme président n'est pas là, le Cameroun va quand même rester. Donc, c'est important que je fasse savoir aux autres personnes de la diaspora qu'on doit travailler ensemble et bâtir, vertébrer, voilà, c'est peut-être le bon mot, on doit absolument vertébrer le processus par lequel nous voulons que la vérité au Cameroun soit su. Et il est capital qu'on se projette dans un objectif à court terme. C'est pourquoi personnellement, je suis contre toute idée de penser aux élections. Je reviens sur l'Église catholique pour dire, on a entendu ces bruits d'invitation du pape. Il est important que tous les Camerounais envoient un message au Vatican pour lui dire que l'autorité que tu représentes, l'autorité que tu impulses ne peut pas donner caution à une élection frauduleuse. C'est c'est capital. Ensuite, Arrêt ou Alain a dit, il faut que la communauté, les ambassades, l'ambassade des États-Unis au Cameroun, l'ambassade de France, qu'ils comprennent que les Camerounais sont dans une logique où ils iront jusqu'à remettre en question l'opportunité ou la pertinence pour des personnes qui se taisent devant le meurtre des Camerounais de faire des affaires au Cameroun. Donc ça, c'est quelque chose aussi qu'il faille adresser, qu'il faille communiquer. Donc, qu'est-ce qu'on peut faire de façon pratique? Laisser savoir aux Camerounais les points opérationnels, les objectifs opérationnels qui sont actuellement qui ont été implémentés. Laisser savoir aux Camerounais aussi que l'acceptation de toute prochaine élection, c'est la négation du meurtre, de l'assassinat de tous les Camerounais dont le sang a été versé il y a quelques jours. En partant d'ici, on avait parlé samedi passé des différentes commissions. On avait dit qu'on avait la volonté de rassembler autour de la volonté du peuple camerounais exprimée le 12 octobre de cette revendication. On a 4 commissions. Communication et IT, finance, commission juridique et commission diplomatique. Toute personne écoutant ce live devrait se sentir ou est encouragée à se sentir volontaire ou désireuse de donner sa contribution pour une de ces commissions-là. Nous fonctionnons dans un climat de paix, mais dans un climat de revendication sérieuse, rigoureuse et déterminée. C'est seulement ça que je voulais ajouter, que de façon pratique, nous donnions de notre disponibilité, que de façon pratique, nous donnions de notre détermination et que de façon pratique, nous sachions que nous sommes des jusqu'au-boutistes dans la paix. Merci beaucoup.
Thank you, Herman. I expected nothing less. I hope that this paints a picture for many of you of where we are, where Project C is, and where we are going. We are not backing down from this fight. If anything, we are embracing this fight in ways that we have never imagined we would. We didn't imagine being here, but again, like I said, with every day that goes by, the possibilities, we see more and more the possibilities of us getting to achieving the dreams that we have held dear to ourselves for so many years, a free and independent and prosperous Cameroon, where each one of us can achieve our greatest potential, a country where every child can wake up to achieving the dreams that they have access to the basic necessities of life, good quality education, clean water, health care, justice for everyone, road infrastructure that enables every farmer to get their product from farm to market, leveraging the resources of our country to create unlimited opportunities for everyone in a country, a country so full of abundance, trapped in this mindset of scarcity, that we have to borrow every dime to be able to have an opportunity for tomorrow, and yet we are sitting, comme on dit, on est assis sur un mine d'or et on dort. It's and then having these conversations here just continue to tell me, but I think that we've spoken a lot. And we had planned for this open forum, right, Eli? And maybe this is the time where we turn this to the audience, because let's not pretend we don't have all the answers. We know that we have the motivation, and I think that's 65% of the game. But that 45%, we've been working on strategy and thoughts and like the idea that somebody kept poking us, saying you have to go to the International Criminal Court. Those ideas are things that come from people in conversations, and then we sit down and think about it and implement it. So just listening to the audiences helps us to be able to go back to the drawing board and say, let's implement this idea and see where it leads us down. So if there are any thoughts from the audience. Maybe that's the moment where we listen to you as well. And you take ownership of this moment as well. This is your part to play. We're passing the ball on to you, and you're wearing that jersey of the Indomitable Lions and playing your part now. So, Eddie, I'll let you.
Yeah, I think it's
moderate
perfect.
that.
I think we had some people raising their hands earlier. Ari, you're so right. It's not just the one thing, even the idea of writing a letter to the Pope.
Yes.
Even when we started with the candidates, there's so many ideas that came because, we heard suggestions and we had meetings and yeah. So please, I know that there were some hands that were up. If you can just raise your hand, maybe a question, an idea, a discussion, this is the time. It just takes that boldness and courage that we all need to have to just get out of a comfort zone because, this time calls for us to do that. So, I see somebody, is that a question? Was that, oh, I don't know if that's a
Oh,
question.
no, that's a response to.
This one's okay. And Delphine made a suggestion earlier. I understand if you can't get on camera, but I think she made a suggestion earlier. I can't remember. And
Delphine, I'm trying to.
yeah, it was Delphine Kamga. Earlier, I was looking at the
Oh,
notes.
she said, I agree. We need to be obsessed about our objectives. Absolutely. You need to be crazy to be able to achieve it. And that's what we want to, that's where we are, that moment of folly that is going to define the next steps that we take. Because these are no ordinary times, and it will just take extraordinary will and desire for action to be achieved.
Anate Taku said, very achievable dream, less than 5 years under the right leadership. We can really live a different life. I look at how Senegal has changed. I mean, let's just talk Burkina. We're close.
And Benin, Cotonou. I had been at a country I went to for the first time in 1999, and it was so backward. And I took I went from Cotonou all the way to Ouagadougou by road. At the time, there were not many flights across Africa. Benin was backward. That's where I first saw Ben Sekins when we were not even dreaming of those in Cameroon. And go to Benin now, go to Cotonou now. Unbelievable how the leadership of that country transformed the country to what it is now. Cotton, we have cotton in Cameroon. Benin is producing its own textiles. It's exporting textile material from Benin. Small country, tiny place, limited resources, has transformed itself in the last 10 years. Look it up. Benin, for 43 years, we were miles and miles away ahead of Benin. And look at where they are today. Sometimes we even make this debate going on. I see the debate between Cote d'Ivoire and Cameroon. No, it's not a match. There's no debate there. They went through their own crisis. Yes, they too may have their own political issues, but it's not much in development, not at all. So we are witnesses of the demise of a country. There's no progress. We're not progressing as a country. I have been blessed to maybe 43 at least African countries. And Cameroon is in the doldrums of the least of them in my mind. I think the only place that I've gone was worse was the Congo during the crisis. Oh well, no, I should say South Sudan. But But, that's where we are in terms of comparison.
Yeah.
And yet, sometimes too often inside Cameroon, we think that we're doing better than most African countries. Unfortunately, not. There's so much stories that you can tell that you can see how much we have lost in terms of potential and opportunity. And it's lamentable. A country that after 40 years builds a bridge in Douala on the same bridge. Now, I want anybody who has been on the West African coast to think about every city on the every major city on the West African coast. Lagos, Abidjan, Accra, Lomé, Cotonou, even Freetown. They have 3, 4 bridges linking the island to the mainland. That mainland bridge all over Cameroon. That one bridge in Bonaberi. That we have engineers that decide that we're going to build the same bridge in the same place without taking into consideration 40 years of population growth and how we could distribute entry into Douala. What is wrong with us? What is wrong
People,
with us?
Are, we the people, we the people, we the people. And I think we keep pointing, we the people, we the people. I mean, it's a tough one, but we have to bite it. We the people. If we say BI is not going to last, he cannot last. He cannot. And we have a Najela, thank you so much. Najela is next. Okay.
Yep, sorry. Thank you all again. Just wanted to shine the light on those 5 strategic points again. Can we break them down so that we can have actionable items? I know we've already been working on some of them, but can we articulate them in English as well as Alan did? Alan, thank you so much. I was in tears when you were speaking, but can we break them down? I know someone was writing some of them on the chat, but if we can actually discuss them and get some actionable items, and we 56 of us start spreading out the word and executing on those things. Thank you all so much.
Alan's hand was up actually, so how perfect. So he can. And I just want to say, so Angela knows you're right, coupled with what Ari had created, we have all this in slides, and I let Alan talk about that. I don't know if security wise, it was wise for us to do that. And we have it in French and English, but thanks again, Alan. I'm gonna let you answer that.
No, for sure, we have to have those operational objectives broken down. Il faut le faire, ça a même déjà commencé à être fait. Comme je le dis encore une fois, le côté, tout ce qui a trait à la communication, au lobbying, c'est parfaitement fait. En fait, il y a, il y a, il y a un chronogramme qui définit comment les choses sont faites. L'une des dernières actions, par exemple, à ce sujet-là qui a été faite, elle a été faite par Eric, il y a une semaine, je crois, où il a rassemblé tous les blogueurs pour s'entendre avec eux sur comment transmettre les messages. Et je parle ici de gens qui ont une audience très sérieuse comme Valsero, Mimi Mefo, Jumento, etc., etc. Donc, il y a les aspects lobbying à l'international, mobilisation des intellectuels, travail sur la légitimité de Chiroma, sont des choses qui sont en cours. D'ailleurs, par exemple, sur cette question de la documentation, il y a 2 actions très, très concrètes qui ont lieu. Il y a une idée de voir avec Jean-Pierre Bécolo pour pouvoir faire un film sur tout ce sur toutes les exactions qu'il y a eu pendant la période post-électorale. Mais à côté de ça, on a une application qui est toute prête. D'ailleurs, qu'on va se mettre à renseigner avec les PV qu'on va extraire de la plateforme de Chiroma pour établir la vérité du résultat suivant cette logique des 18 ou 20 départements les plus importants qui représentent 80% de l'électorat. Et ça, tous les jours, on va l'opposer au gouvernement en disant, si vous avez une autre vérité, venez nous l'opposer parce que on va prendre chaque Camerounais à témoin pour pouvoir aller lui-même sur la plateforme qui est construite de façon un peu ergonomique pour dire que chacun aille voir et que chacun s'approprie cette vérité. Donc, je parle de ces deux actions-là parce que ce sont les actions qui sont cadrées, qui sont déjà définies avec des indicateurs de performance ou d'activité qui sont clairement définis. Sur l'application, c'est le nombre de PV compilés pour arriver au résultat, etc. Et je vois quelqu'un qui parle des PV de l'Église. Évidemment, s'il faut, il va y avoir une action vers l'Église pour récupérer leur PV. Je ne sais pas dans quelle mesure ils peuvent le faire. J'ai commencé un travail dans ce sens-là et c'est pas si évident que ça parce que ça met à mal les relations diplomatiques entre l'État du Vatican et l'État du Cameroun. Mais je crois que on a le support d'un certain nombre d'évêques et de clédas qui, au fur et à mesure qu'on avance, ils vont, j'ai bon espoir qu'ils vont céder et dire la vérité. Parce que de toute façon, la vérité, ils la connaissent. Et c'est notre référent ultime. Mais maintenant, pour aller plus directement sur la question, sur ce qui est la colonne vertébrale, en fait, de la chose, qui est ce réseau de résistance. Euh, je crois que il y a un travail qui est en cours. Peut-être qu'on ne va pas en parler ici, mais pour tous ceux qui veulent, ils vont transmettre leurs coordonnées, on va se faire un groupe de travail et on pourra en discuter au détail. Là aussi, il y a l'idée de constituer une base de données de l'ensemble de ces correspondants dans les 360 communes du Cameroun, avec des objectifs bien clairs en termes de connexion à établir localement avec les autorités traditionnelles, avec les autorités religieuses, avec éventuellement des personnes des forces de défense ou des personnes des forces de maintien de l'ordre, plus les magistrats. Tout ça dans l'optique de pouvoir actionner les populations, soit pour des marches, soit pour de la désobéissance civile, soit pour qu'on soit unis et massif quand on appelle aux villes mortes. Pour les autres objectifs opérationnels, c'est pareil. Je pense qu'il y a un travail qui est en train d'être fait. Herman a cité tout à l'heure des commissions qui ont été créées pour pouvoir faire ça. Il est question maintenant que si c'est parlant pour les uns et les autres, ben que les uns et les autres se dévouent pour rejoindre les groupes pour apporter leur pierre à l'édifice. Donc, voilà un peu ce que je voulais mentionner. Mais maintenant, il y a quelque chose d'important que je souhaitais dire. J'ai commencé par répondre à la question avant d'insister sur ce que je voulais dire. C'était que Arène n'arrête pas de poser la question, comment se fait-il que le Cameroun, qui est doté d'autant de richesses humaines, de richesses tout court, parce qu'on ne se le dit jamais assez, mais c'est, permettez-moi de prendre 2 minutes pour vous le dire. On a un pays fantastique. Après le Zaïre, on a le plus gros potentiel hydroélectrique en Afrique centrale. 25 000 mégawatts. 25 000 mégawatts, enfin, j'ai pas, si je faisais des conversions, c'est de quoi nous assurer, rien que ça, c'est de quoi nous assurer la vie sur quelques générations. Pourquoi? Parce que 25 000 mégawatts, c'est 10 fois plus que notre consommation actuelle. Le restant pourrait être vendu au Nigeria, à la Centrafrique et à des pays voisins. Et rien que avec l'hydroélectricité, quelque chose que la nature nous a donné, on arrivera à vivre. Mais je passe le fer qu'on a, je passe l'or, je passe des terres qui sont mais incroyablement agraires pour arriver à des choses plus précieuses encore. Laissons même le fer, laissons la bauxite. Mais on a des terres rares au Cameroun. Et juste pour que vous compreniez, les terres rares, c'est le game changer économique en ce moment. C'est-à-dire que la Chine, par exemple, Chine est ce qu'elle est parce qu'elle est en train de développer des terres rares. Nous avons des relations commerciales avec la Chine. Mon Dieu, mais qu'est-ce qu'on ne pourrait pas, même dans un deal à 60-40 avec eux, bénéficier de leur technologie contre leur en donner une petite partie, mais vraiment faire de ce que nos vies pour chacun soient magnifiques, merveilleuses. Mais ce n'était pas ça mon point. Mon point, c'était de dire, pour répondre à la question d'Arène, il faut qu'on sache se dire des vérités en face. En fait, le point premier, c'est notre égoïsme, notre manque de sens de l'altruisme, parce qu'il y a quelque chose qu'on n'a pas encore compris. On n'a pas encore compris que c'est mieux de se mettre à 10 pour faire un gâteau qui pèse 1000 et avoir un dixième de 100, c'est-à-dire 100, plutôt que d'être seul dans son coin et de faire un gâteau qui pèse 10 et sur lequel on a 100%. Ça, c'est quelque chose de l'ordre de l'état d'esprit qu'on n'a pas encore. La deuxième chose, c'est nos égos. Et ça se voit même dans l'élite progressiste. On a trop d'égos. On n'a pas encore compris que le bonheur se trouve dans la lutte pour l'intérêt collectif. Et plus on lutte pour l'intérêt collectif, mieux on arrange les conditions sur soi. Ça sert à quoi d'avoir une belle maison, des belles voitures, si quand on sort, la route est complètement foireuse? Ça sert à quoi d'avoir une belle maison, de belles voitures, si quand on sort, tes voisins qui te regardent n'ont qu'une seule envie, c'est de te tuer pour prendre ce que tu as pour pouvoir vivre et manger. Ça sert absolument à rien. Donc, en fait, il y a un travail vraiment très important qui est de l'ordre psychologique pour, avant de vouloir le changement, il faut déjà changer. Il faut être de meilleures personnes. Il faut avoir ce sens de l'humanité. Mais laissons même ça, qui est un peu idéologique comme ça. Mais le simple bon sens doit nous ramener à des choses qui sont simples. Être Camerounais aujourd'hui, pour moi, c'est être un résistant. C'est lutter pour dire stop à la dictature et que commence enfin la démocratie. Nous avons tout pour avancer. Et pourquoi est-ce qu'on veut le faire pacifiquement? Parce que même les gens qui sont du camp du président, même à eux, même si on leur concédait qu'ils partent avec tout ce qu'ils ont déjà volé, même si on leur concédait, parce que le Cameroun de demain se fera avec tous ses enfants. Donc, même à eux, il faut leur dire qu'ils ont leur place dans un Cameroun de demain, et pourvu que nous acceptions tous qu'on fonctionne suivant des bonnes règles de gouvernance. C'est ça qui fonde ma conviction sur le fait que, moi, je voyais quelqu'un là qui disait que ça va prendre 5 ans. Ça ne prendra pas 5 ans. Ça va prendre quelques mois. Ça va prendre quelques mois parce que si on enchaîne correctement, de façon unifiée et disciplinée les actions qu'on dit, alors cette dictature va être stoppée. Ça va prendre quelques mois. Il faut le faire de façon méthodique, disciplinée, et on va y arriver. Donc, la réponse en un mot à la question, c'est que oui, il y a un travail en background qui est fait pour détailler les objectifs, de sorte que chaque personne puisse savoir comment est-ce qu'il peut entrer dedans. Merci.
Thank you very much, Alain, for painting that picture of this. Again, it says we are in the way of our own progress. Each one of us, we are in our way. Let's get out of the way of our progress. Let's put aside our egos. Let's not be greedy about what we want to achieve, because it's better for us to achieve this together as opposed to us trying to go it alone. At the end of the day, and then somebody said one of the things is that our people are in fear because they've been oppressed for too long. But that oppression only works if we live in fear, if we fear that oppression. I keep saying to people that I'm the one person that's flown to Cameroon, been put back on a plane, and I still went back to Cameroon. I must be insane to do that. But I'm still here and I'm still fighting this because this is not for me. It is for the country that I believe that we can have, and having had the opportunity to see the world and see the opportunities that we're losing. I go to bed every night in shame and disbelief at just how much we have been unable to achieve as a people. Let me bring in Terence here. Terence, if you want to come in, I know your hand has been up, and I'm sorry it took some time, but please come on, brother.
Yeah,
Terence, I must also add that another brother that I've discovered in the fight. I knew Terence. I've known him for a while, but in this struggle, man, I found I've gotten to know you even more and seen your
We're knowing each other in a different way.
Yeah.
It's not just us with the voice,
Yeah.
but everyone is that we're opening up and we're knowing it's a gift. It's a gift. This is how rich we are. We're rich in people. We're rich in our hearts. And the separation and isolation and Western struggle and just doing it on your own, it's never good. What our parents had, our grandparents, the joy they have, I dare you, even in that struggle, we don't have it because they work together. We're rediscovering ourselves as a people, our oneness. We have been taught all the stereotypes. Everyone here, we're the same. We are really, truly have so much more in common than we do. And Ari, we're finding ourselves, we're rediscovering our family, same DNA. It's real. It's real. So thank you. I just had to budge into that, but I'm gonna let you, Terence, speak. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll make it real short. Thank you very much, Eric, for that. In my life, I've led Cameroonians, communities, and organizations. And what I found out is that Cameroonians are Cameroonians. But the one thing I want to say is that every group of people deserve the leader that they have. Let this sink in. Every group of people deserve the leader that they have. We deserve the leader that we have. If we want to sit and not act, that by itself is action. And we deserve what we have. So if we don't want what we have, we know what to do. We as a people can come together, put aside everything, and get exactly what we want. Again, every group of people deserve the leaders they have. Please, do your part, ensure that you work hard to get the leader that you deserve. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Terence, for that. We deserve the leaders that we have. So that's just a rude awakening of our reality, and we say no. We say no. That's unacceptable. This is not the leader that we want, and it's not the leader that we deserve. And so we have to prove it, and we prove it by action that we're going to be taking. I think at this point, we have had an incredible conversation. Eric just called me getting off the plane.
Yeah, I just took with you.
Coming back from Eric Chinje was very, and I said, we're still on the call. I said, unbelievable, what's going on? And I said, this has been one of the best calls that we have had, because on this call, we have faced the truth. We have identified our obstacles, and we are, I hope that we leave here even more committed to what is to come. That it's unacceptable where we are as a country, and incumbent on us to walk towards where we should be, where we ought to be as a country, and that this largely depends on each one of us doing what we can, wherever we can, with the talent that we have, to get us to where we should be. when tomorrow comes, what would it be that you took from this call and that you're implementing towards the objectives that we have? That's a question that I hope we all will ask ourselves. But for me, I'm going back to work.
All right, I just wanted to add that as assurance to everyone that we have not slowed down. We are having, just so you know, I think it's worth me mentioning, that we're having daily meetings, and sometimes we've had them at midnight, we've had them, at all times. And so we are working and we're looking for solutions. And that's why we want you to join and we all need to participate. Look at how far we've come. Look at how the tone in Cameroon and the government has changed. There are many things I've been wanting to say now, but I know it would not be smart for me to say because when you're at war and you have to strategize and you have things coming on the other side, you have to know what to say and what not to say. But I just wanted to say that, we are going to do this. It is not a thought of, oh, is it going to happen? Is it not? No, it will happen. And I just want us to be encouraged to be together and continue rising. The numbers we have here does not represent the people who are active. The more people who are active, the more people who are in all these different other social media platforms who are, and even just with PC and all the other groups that we visually don't see, that's what's happening. It's a new awakening in Cameroon. There's a rising of the Cameroonian people. And when the people rise, the walls will fall. We have to march. We're marching around so that this wall is going to crumble. So yeah, Ari, I'm going to give it back to you. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you all. Thank you, Eddie, for your steadfastness, for being passionate and really for being a driver, and the commitment that you have. It's been, it cannot be quantified, and it's unmeasurable. The investments that has gone in, and I want to say this to the entire Project C team. But yes, two of us come out and we do the talking, but we are only able to do this because of the people behind the scenes, that sometimes don't even want us to call their names in public, and I feel bad about it. But this people have different ways in which they want to be involved, but no less committed than we have, even to an extent, even more committed than we are. I want to thank the Project C team. I want to remind everybody that we need resources to be able to make this happen. Please, if you find a moment to invest that $50, $100, $1,000. Somebody did invest $20,000, $10,000. People have been investing in this campaign. Make that sacrifice, because it's that sacrifice that will enable us to be able to do the things that we really have to done. We're all making sacrifices, so please find time to contribute to. We were running low on resources for the next part of the fight. I want to be frank with you that in the next few weeks we need to raise $20,000 to embark on all the things that we need to do. So if you know a friend, ask them to donate. If you have donated, think about donating in a new month, which is coming up. But we will be back again next Saturday, and I know for us here in the United States, it's going to be Thanksgiving. We'll figure out how to keep it short and engaging, but we do not want to lose the opportunity of engaging with the audiences that we've been building over the months. So thank you all for your time. Have a wonderful, wonderful week ahead of you. The fight continues.
Hey, oh mama Africa, Cameroon.